Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where this week we are looking at 10 managers destined for big clubs in the future. Let's go. 10. Mikel Arteta. The only person on this list yet to actually manage a team outright, Mikel Arteta is being tipped to have a huge future in management. And this is largely thanks to the Pep Guardiola effect. Since becoming one of the Spanish super coach's assistants in 2016, Arteta has experienced a masterclass in the art of winning. During their reign at Manchester City, they claimed countless trophies, including 2 Premier League titles and a domestic treble last season. With 11 respectable playing years in the UK and aged just 37, the Basque Country native has provided the perfect link between squad and manager, as well as offering sound tactical advice on the opposition. And his quality has not gone unnoticed, with his name constantly being linked with the Arsenal job. The Athletic reported that back in 2018, when interviewing for the position at the end of Arsene Wenger's reign, he would have got the job, but for the lack of an established backroom team. 18 months later, and with the Everton position also available, it seems just a matter of time before he leads a team of his own. 9. Diego Martínez. One of the surprise packages of La Liga this season, Granada currently sit 9th, having been in the top 4 in the early stages of the campaign. And were it not for a torrid November that saw them pick up 1 point in 5, their European challenge would still be on course. 9th is still a brilliant effort for a side only promoted this season, and much of the credit for that success has to go to their manager, Diego Martínez. The youngest head coach in the division at 38, Martínez guided Granada to automatic promotion in 2018-19 after a serious restructuring of the club. He got rid of expensive foreign imports and brought in a number of young local players to create a well-drilled and committed team, and the rewards have been instantaneous. Granada have experienced their best ever La Liga start, famously beating Barcelona 2-0 in the process. And that win was no fluke, as they outscored Barcelona on XG 1.8 to 0.6. Martínez doesn't have any superstars at Granada, making his influence all the more important. But should he continue to impress, he may be working with more high-profile players soon. 8. Sabri Lamouchi. The English Championship is one of the most competitive divisions in world football, as Nottingham Forest have discovered over the last 19 years. The former European champions have continually fallen short of promotion back to the big time, but that may all change this year with Sabri Lamouchi in charge. Since joining at the start of the season, the former Stade Rennes coach has managed what many before have failed to do by establishing Forest as real promotion challengers. After entering management by taking the Ivory Coast to the 2014 World Cup, Lamouchi would guide Rennes to 5th in Ligue 1 in 2017-18, following 3 years in Qatar with El Jaish. And he has been quick to apply his winning ways to Forest, as they sit just below the playoffs after 21 games. Currently performing just below his impressive career win percentage of 49%, the Frenchman has won 11 and lost just 6 of his 24 games in charge. The Championship is a long and grueling league where managers come and go at will, but if Lamouchi can keep winning matches, he won't be stuck in England's second tier forever. 7. Marco Rose. Take a glance at the Bundesliga table and there is a new name near the top of the tree, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Since hiring former RB Salzburg boss Marco Rose in the summer, Die Fohlen have laid down a serious challenge to the usual suspects of Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. Rose is not a man averse to winning, and to say his Salzburg team dominated the Austrian Bundesliga is an understatement. Taking control before the 2017-18 season, the German lost just 10 of his 114 games in charge and reached the Europa League semi-final, an incredible achievement for an Austrian team. As well as never losing at home, his team scored 160 goals in 2 seasons, with their goal difference almost double their closest competitors on both occasions. And any worries Rose wouldn't cut it in the German top division have been quickly silenced. With a win percentage of 60%, his arrival has more than filled the gap made by the transfer of Thorgan Hazard to Dortmund, with defender Stefan Leiner recently expressing the excitement among the squad in the manager's plan. Gladbach are one of Germany's biggest clubs already, but haven't won the league since 1978. If Rose pulls off the title this year, an even bigger club could be his ultimate reward. 6. Jesse Marsch. If Salzburg were worried their form would drop off with the departure of Marco Rose, they certainly aren't anymore. Not only has new boss Jesse Marsch continued their dominance, he has arguably improved it. Stepping up from the number 2 position, the American is quickly turning Salzburg into one of the most exciting teams in Europe. Domestically, they are untouchable, having won 13 and drawn 5 from 18 games. Not only that, they have scored 66 in the process at a ridiculous average of 3.7 goals a match. Much of that is down to getting the best from Norwegian wonderkid Erling Braut Haaland, who has 29 goals from 27 games, including 5 hat-tricks. And despite falling short against Liverpool in the Champions League, they still looked hugely impressive in a group boasting last year's winners and Napoli. The prospect of winning the Europa League is very much on the cards. Already the most successful coach in the history of New York Red Bulls, Marsch is well on his way to repeating that feat at their Austrian sister club. Should he do so, he will inevitably follow the path taken by Marco Rose to a bigger European side soon. 5. Adi Hütter. Quickly becoming one of the most revered coaches in Europe, Adi Hütter continues to have success wherever he goes. And unbelievably, he is another manager to pass through the Red Bull Salzburg system. In the 2014-15 season, he won the Austrian double in his only year in charge, before heading to Young Boys in Switzerland, where he continued to make a name for himself. In 2018, he led the Bern club to their first title in 32 years, leaving the club with a win percentage of 59% from 131 games. Replacing Bayern-bound Niko Kovac at Eintracht Frankfurt, he led them to the Europa League semi-finals in his first season, and was named by German newspaper Bild and by the Union of Professional Football Players as the Bundesliga Manager of the Year. While only in 12th in the Bully at the time of recording, this is far from disastrous considering he has had to deal with losing various stars like Luka Jovic and Sebastian Haller. The 49-year-old knows how to win and is not afraid of a challenge. It seems only a matter of time before he applies that winning mentality to a bigger club than Frankfurt. 4. Gaizka Garitano. Quickly becoming a legend in the Basque country, Gaizka Garitano has got Athletic Bilbao fans believing they can claim their first major trophy in 35 years. Before arriving at the San Mamés, Garitano made a name for himself a few miles up the road in the mountainous town of Eibar. Under his guidance, the tiny club reached the Copa del Rey last 16 and achieved incredible back-to-back promotions, entering La Liga for the first time in their history in 2014. And amazingly, all of this was achieved under crippling financial restraints that threatened to relegate the club before the start of the season. And after 2 campaigns at Valladolid and Deportivo La Coruña, Garitano returned to the club where he came through as a player, Athletic Bilbao. Since then, he has been quick to reinstate them near the top of La Liga while keeping their strict cantera policy of only using Basque players. By no means a flashy coach, the 44-year-old creates defensively organised and committed teams. Only Getafe and Real Madrid have faced fewer shots than Bilbao's 8.9 a game, while no team has won more aerial duels than them this season. Hovering below the top 4 after 17 games, Champions League football or any cup success would be an amazing feat for a club that were flirting with relegation this time last year. 3. Gio van Bronckhorst. The only manager on this list not working on the touchline at all, Gio van Bronckhorst is rumoured to be the Man City are lining up to replace Guardiola in the future. While not directly working for the Sky Blues, Van Bronckhorst is currently employed as a coach within the City group as a whole, and has been based increasingly around Manchester. And similar to Arteta, the knowledge he is gaining from Guardiola is undoubtedly improving his worth. But where he and Arteta differ is that the Dutch legend already holds managerial pedigree, having guided Feyenoord to a historic Eredivisie title in 2016-17 and 2 Dutch Cups in his 3.5 years in charge. It was only the lure of seeing the inside of the City football group that tempted him out of his sabbatical from the game. A good fit for City, the Dutchman shares a similar attacking philosophy to Guardiola. For example, his Feyenoord team scored 86 goals the year they won the league, the highest in the Eredivisie. A class act on and off the field, Van Bronckhorst has a huge managerial future ahead of him, whether it be at City or another giant able to bring him back to the dugout. 2. Marcelo Gallardo. Despite winning 2 La Ligas and a Copa del Rey in his 2.5 years in charge, Barcelona boss Ernesto Valverde is constantly facing speculation about his future. And should the Blaugrana choose to replace him, there is every possibility the man they will turn to is current River Plate boss Marcelo Gallardo. In just his second managerial job, the 43-year-old is quickly making history in Buenos Aires, falling short this season and claiming his 3rd Copa Libertadores in just 5 years in charge. Add to that 2 Copa Argentina trophies and a Copa Sudamericana title in 2015, and you have the makings of a coach who could be highly successful in Europe. His excellent record against bitter rivals Boca Juniors and the fact River have won more international honours during his tenure than at any other point in their history has led many fans to proclaim him as the greatest coach they've ever had. And this is just the kind of winning pedigree Barcelona like. Not afraid to turn to Argentina for a coach, they hired Tata Martino from Newell's Old Boys back in 2013. While things didn't quite work out for Martino in Catalonia in the long term, Gallardo would bring a wealth of success with him wherever he goes in Europe. 1. João Pedro Sousa. A man finally enjoying his moment in the spotlight, João Pedro Sousa was an assistant at 7 different clubs before finally being given the top job at Famalicão in Portugal this season. As Marco Silva's right-hand man, Sousa followed the former Everton boss from their early managerial days in their homeland to Greece and then England at Hull, Watford and the Toffees. And he was clearly missed by Silva, whose reign at Goodison Park turned sour in his absence. Reaping the benefits of his experience, however, is the Liga NOS surprise package Famalicão. With the support of Jorge Mendes' super agency Gestifote, the Famalicenses are sitting pretty in the top 4 behind Porto and Benfica. This is despite only being promoted last season and playing in a stadium with a capacity of just over 5,000. While the young stars provided by Mendes are certainly helping, Sousa has to take a lot of the credit. The Portuguese coach has got them working hard for each other, with only Benfica making more than their 18.6 tackles per game, and he is getting the best out of his strikers too, with Fabio Martins and Anderson Silva on 6 goals apiece. More than adept at leading a team of his own, Sousa's days as a number 2 are well behind him, while a big club probably awaits him in the future. So those were our 10 managers destined for big clubs, but can you name any more? Please let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, why not click on screen right now, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a Merry Christmas and see you soon.